So, a lot has happened since my last video. I think the fanbase went through all 5 stages of grief in the span of a few weeks. Welcome to the series where I review the most recent episodes of Higurashi Sotsu, and you tell me I'm wrong. Today we are covering episodes 12 to 14. Episode 12 was full of recaps. Some like to exaggerate and claim it was most of the episode, but this is not true. There were about 12 minutes of new content, which while still a problem is fairly normal for Sotsu. Note that the Hanyu flashback was a necessary addition, as the show is also aimed at newcomers. Until this point they have virtually no idea who she is. However, I will agree that the recaps for the Nekodamashi loops were pretty unnecessary and didn't add much. Certainly not answers. There wasn't really a reason for them to show as much as they did, as they barely expand on it. For the Akane scene in particular, I've seen many complain about how it's unrealistic or stupid. Look, if you haven't realized the show is a horror comedy by now, you might be stuck thinking it's the same as the old Higurashi. On to episode 13, an unimpressive episode. It offered some interesting insights, such as confirmation that Hanyu and Ewa are indeed the same entity, and another Kikonia reference, but aside from that, it didn't really contribute much. Really can't let Rika have a moment of competence, at least it's true to character. That miracle is going to need some more explanation, it also risks feeling cheap. In the original story, a miracle can only be created by everyone reaching their hand out, which is obviously not what happened here. Not to mention, it hasn't really been established as a theme in this story yet. All I can think of is that Rika was somehow alive by the time Satoko showed up, and the sounds were buried in her subconscious. Actually, you know what? The true hero of Higurashi is Oishi. He solved Oyashiro-sama's curse, and the mystery of Go without even looping. He purposefully used the bat instead of his gun on Rika to ensure that she remained alive long enough to hear his final act detective speech. He revealed the culprit to her in a way so convincing it slipped past Oyashiro-sama aka Satoko Hojo. What a victory. Oya-san would be very proud. It was nice getting to see how Keiichi's loop progressed. Some have been suggesting there would be consequences to Satoko not shooting him, same with Nena and the Tatari loop, but there's really no evidence of this. Keiichi remembers where he died in 1983 in the original story. Satoko just didn't have any reason to shoot him because the police would rush her if she did, and there's no need for her to do anything after confirming Rika is surely dead. On another note, Keiichi's justice tackle continues to be as effective as ever. Episode 14 is what we were all waiting for, story progression. And boy does it progress. Where to even begin with this episode? It was stupid, though not necessarily in a bad way. It was insanely well directed and animated, it's just the content of the episode that's interesting. The show has always had elements of comedy. Gratuitous blood, the contrast between Keiichi and Nena killing each other, while Rika cheers them on from the outside. Rika waiting for her food, and an angel mort covered in blood and shattering noises. The list goes on, but I've already talked about it several times if I remember correctly. But they take that to its logical conclusion in this episode with literal DBZ Mikos. I don't know if there's much I can say about that doesn't speak for itself. There was a little bit of stretching of the physics here with instances such as Satoko holding Rika against the side of a school by the head with a bat, but realism isn't that important for me in fiction, and complaining about it only distracts from the point of the story being told. I think the goofiness here is warranted and welcome. What I care more about is internal consistency, and to that end, what the hell is going on with the Onigari no duo? I don't understand how it's supposed to work between fragments. In terms of the actual fragment hopping, I really don't think it totally matters, as the entire point is that anything outside the two doesn't matter. Heck, there aren't even any bystanders at any point. It can be taken mostly as metaphor, but if you want a solid in-universe explanation for how they are fighting at points in time past 1983, you can just assume that Ewa is messing with him. She wants to have a little fun with them, so she is casting them into random fragments at random points in time, and messing with them by doing things like finding a fragment where they both happen to be locked up for some reason. At least now we can see where the budget went for this show. Was it worth all the recaps? Probably not, but it's still very nice to see and technically impressive. Many are taking Satoko's arguments to mean that she really did all this because she doesn't like studying. If this is you, I recommend rewatching the episode and paying attention to the flow of the conversation. Rika was the one who made it about studying, and Satoko is too emotionally compromised to be perfect in her rhetoric, so she just responds, well, emotionally. The real point she's making is that she will never fit in at St. Lucia's no matter what. They're both talking past each other, not understanding the real point the other is making. Am I saying that both points are equally valid? No. But let's at least try to understand the feelings of the characters, as that has always been a major theme in When They Cry. Despite the negativity, I've been having fun with the show. It's not perfect, and it doesn't meet the expectations left by Go, but that isn't to say there's nothing there. I hope we get a Season 3 announced, because I don't see them giving us a satisfying conclusion in one episode. Also, the manga is actually doing its own thing with Higurashi Jun, offering different answers from the ones we got in Sotsu. I'm very intrigued to see where it goes, and hopefully they can offer a more satisfying story than the one we got in the anime. And with that, I go buy tasty nachos, and you go bye.